So this is an excerpt from the introduction. You got to buy the book to know the rest. All right. To be considered a person of value and great worth, one must first define what those words mean. It is determined by material possession. Is it determined by your career success or your personal relationships? What would you do to be loved? What would you do to be accepted? What would you do to be seen, to be known, to be appreciated? Who would you become to be looked at as a person of value and of great worth? These are questions I never asked myself. Yet, if I replayed the recording of my life, the answer to all of these questions would be Chameleon. While I was writing my first book, Letters to a Troubled Soul, I noticed a pattern. I saw that much of my life, childhood, and adult life, who I was at any given point in time was fluid. I was constantly changing as a person, influenced by my experiences and the people around me. My personality was inconsistent. My interactions with family, friends, and even teachers caused me to shapeshift and morph into different people. As I entered adulthood, I thought that I would have a better grasp on who I was and what I wanted. However, I soon realized the journey to self-discovery never truly ends. I found myself questioning my beliefs, my values, my goals. I also confronted new challenges and opportunities that forced me to adapt. I was not a consistent person. I'm not talking about natural growth or evolution, becoming the person you were meant to be. No, I'm not talking about the subconscious change of who I actually was in various environments or situations. No, I'm talking about I was a completely different person in each of these situations. In my first book, I talk about how my personality, my clothes, my hair, and my overall representation of myself changed with every man that I was involved with. As I wrote that portion of the book, I had to look at the facts staring me in the face. When I opened that door, I was met with the reality that who I was not only changed in relationships with men, but in relationships with family, with friends, in schools I attended, in church, and in work environments. If you were to interview various people from different environments in the same time period, I am sure there would be conflicting answers of who I was. I don't know if y'all can agree with that. That was me. Again, I'm not talking about having a work, church, or home version of yourself. I'm not talking about versions at all. I'm talking about who I was in these environments being contradictory. I recently watched the movie Runaway Bride. I've seen it a few times before throughout the years. Yet for some reason, as I watched this time, it was new, and it was new to me with new eyes. If you're not familiar with the story, let me give you a brief synopsis. Julia Roberts plays a woman from a small town who ends up literally running out on 4 men at the altar. Richard Gere is a reporter who travels to the town to find out why a woman would get all the way to the altar 3 times, only to run away, and he becomes the 4th. Through his research into her, he discovers that she, just like me, was a different person with every man. With one, she was into rock and roll. With another man, she was into classical music. With another man, she was athletic and into mountain climbing. As he interviewed each man, he found out even the type of eggs she ate was different for breakfast with each man. In the end, she finally decided to take time to know herself after running out on the 4th man, Richard Gere. She realized that she could never marry anyone until she knew who she really was for herself. Even though I never left anyone at the altar, I could relate to the realization and process of getting to know yourself before entering into a lifelong commitment. To take it a step further, for me, it was imperative for me to know me before continuing to do life with myself. All right, so that's just an excerpt. That's not the whole introduction.